Okay, I think we're ready to get started. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting of the Dutchess County IDA to order. And Jasmine, could you please take a roll call of the board members, please?
Tim Dean,
Present.
Mark Doyle,
Yeah.
Kathy Bauer,
Present.
Amy Bondieri,
Present.
Jamie Picone,
Here.
Don Sagliano,
Here.
Al Torgiani.
Appears that Al's not here, but hopefully he'll be joining us soon. The first thing on our agenda is just a review of the conflict of interest statement. If anybody on the board has a conflict with any of the items that come before us this morning, I would appreciate it if you could let us know now. And I will start myself by saying that I do have a conflict of interest on both items on the agenda 9B and 9C. For North Cross LLC, my firm has provided some insurance advisory services on another project which they are involved with, and may on this one, so I need to recuse myself. And then on built parcel 3 and 4, we are the insurance agent for those projects. So again, I will have to recuse myself, and Mark Doyle will handle those. Does any other board member have a conflict they'd like to state now? Don Sagliano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a conflict with item 8A. The organization I work for is a tenant in that location.
Thank you. 9A, I think, which is what you mean.
9A? I
yes.
thought it was 8A.
It's 8 is unfinished business.
Oh, then maybe I don't have a current agenda.
Yeah, you have the old one.
Okay, so
Correct.
at any rate, it is the in Poughkeepsie Industrial Park project.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Anybody else?
This is Amy. I also have a conflict with North Crossing.
Okay. And Amy, what is your conflict on that?
My firm is working on the projects.
Okay. So Sarah, again, I would just ask that you confirm that as we come to those projects that we still have a quorum as needed for any approvals.
Then I just also want to say that Al Torgiani is at the meeting. He's on the call. He
okay.
is represented by, I believe, phone number ending in 217.
Okay. Great. And does Al have any conflict of interest?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can.
All right, I'm there.
Okay. Al, in between your comments, I'd ask that you mute your phone so that we avoid feedback. Okay. So, Sarah, the proof of meeting notice was posted for this meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Next is approval of minutes. And does anybody have any corrections or modifications that need to be made to the minutes before we vote on their approval? Sarah?
Yes, I have corrections to the April 14th minutes.
Mm-hmm.
There are about 3 of them, and they are the following. On the list of meeting attendants, it lists Dan O'Neill was present, but the correct name of the person was Finn O'Neill.
Okay.
Under the conflict of interest disclosure, it states that Ms. Bombadiri noted that she had a conflict with Fox Run, but the project actually is should be North Cross.
Okay.
And then under new business, item C for North Cross, it stated that Chairman Dean had a conflict of interest because a member of a firm had discussions with principals at Fox Run. It should be North Cross, not Fox Run.
Okay. All right. Is there?
I have a question or an issue that I'd like to raise on the minutes.
Sure, Mark.
And that was to do with the vote to reconsider. If it's, so the way the minutes laid out is that we took 2 votes and 3 motions. So with respect to the item about the motion to reconsider, if we can simply add that a roll call vote was taken and the motion to reconsider was passed, then that would complete the sequence.
I just want to make sure that that's the way we would do that. Don Capolino?
Yeah, that is what happened, yes.
Okay. I'm just asking because I wasn't present for that part of the meeting.
Thank you.
Is there any other changes or modifications that need to be made? Okay, if I could get a board member to make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
So moved. Mark Doyle.
Thank you, Mark Doyle. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Jamie Picone. Okay, Jasmine, would you please take a roll call vote for that?
Al Torjani,
Approved.
Don Sagliano,
Abstain, I was not present for the April 14th meeting.
Jamie Picone,
Approve.
Amy Bondieri,
Approve.
Kathy Bauer,
Approved.
Mark Doyle,
Approved.
Tim Dean.
Approved. Thank you. Okay, report of the treasurer.
This is Marilyn speaking. Looking at the balance sheet, we currently have 2.5 million in cash. Looking at the P&L, we are looking pretty good right now. We currently are ahead on our admin fees versus budget at 512,000. There's really nothing noteworthy to mention if anybody has any questions.
I do not. Okay, and this is for information purposes. There's nothing that we need to approve in that part of our report. Sarah, are there any reports of committees?
None at this time.
Okay. Is there any unfinished business?
No.
Okay, so that takes us to our new business. The first is for consideration and approval of a final resolution for Poughkeepsie Industrial Park LLC and Air Protection Packaging Corp.
Yes. And Tim, what
Yes.
we're going to do is we are going to move Don Sagliano to the waiting room.
Okay, thank you. I
while the board has
apologize.
a discussion.
Okay,
So, okay, he has been moved to the waiting room.
okay. So again, we are here for the consideration and approval of a final resolution for Poughkeepsie Industrial Park LLC and Air Protection Package Corp. Sarah, do you want to kick this off or somebody else?
Sure, I can kick it off. So AP Packaging is in front of the board today for consideration of the final resolution. They are proposing to invest over $12 million at 900 Dutchess Turnpike in the town of Poughkeepsie to purchase approximately 58 acres of land and 3 existing structures which sit on that land. The largest building consists of 353,000 square feet, which would undergo renovations and reconstruction to accommodate the company's corporate headquarters and manufacturing operations, which would occupy initially 165,000 square feet of the building. The project is projected to create 105 new jobs in Dutchess County. They are seeking approval for sales tax exemptions, mortgage tax exemptions, and a 15-year pilot. The public hearing was held on April 12th. The project has received written consent of the deviated pilots from the school district and the town, and copies of the approval resolutions have been forwarded to the board.
Okay, and Sarah, would you mind if it's okay touching on some of the, the aspects of this project that are, specifically address some of our targeted clusters and priorities in the county?
Sure. So AP Packaging is a manufacturer of what's commonly known as bubble wrap. Manufacturing is a priority industry for Dutchess County. The ripple effect from manufacturing jobs are quite high, and historically the salaries from manufacturing jobs are desirable. So they are a company that is located outside of New York State, and they are looking to move to Dutchess County as a place to establish themselves for the long term by purchasing a building and slowly increase their occupancy in that building as they grow.
Great. Does anybody have any questions from the board about this project? We did see it, for preliminary approval prior to this.
And Tim, this is Sarah.
Yes.
We do have Kelly Leibold representing the applicant at this meeting, so she's here also to answer any questions.
Thank you. Okay, again, members of the board, does anybody have any additional questions or comments for this applicant? Okay. Kelly, did you want to add anything at this point?
No, I don't think we have anything further to offer unless the board has any questions. We're happy to answer those, but we appreciate your help with this issue.
Okay. All right. So if there are no further questions, I would ask for a motion from the board to approve the this project.
This is Amy. I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Amy. Can I get a second, please?
Kathy, I'll make a second.
Jenny,
Okay, we did hear from Kathy Bauer, so thank you, Kathy. And Jasmine, could you please take a vote on this, please? Roll call?
Excuse me, just for clarification, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman. I'll make
Yes,
it clear that the motion is the motion to consider the resolution that's before you, correct?
yes, I'm sorry. So, Jasmine, if you could take a vote.
Al Torjani,
approved.
Don Sagliano,
Don has a conflict. He
Oh,
will not-
sorry.
That's okay.
Jamie Picone,
Approve.
Amy Bondieri,
Approve.
Kathy Bauer,
Approved.
Mark Doyle,
Approved.
Tim Dean.
Approved. Okay, so the motion passes. Kelly, good luck with the project. We're very excited to see the progress along the way and what this will do for our county.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
You're welcome. Okay, at this point, what I'm going to do, again, as stated, I have a conflict of interest on the next two projects. So I think Sarah will place me in the waiting room, and I'll come back when we are going to discuss some other matters when those are complete. And Mark Doyle will now assume the chair role for the rest of this part of the meeting.
Yep, so Tim Dean and Amy Bombadiri should be moved to the waiting room.
Thank you, Tim and Amy. Sarah, let me know when I should go ahead.
Okay.
Don Sagliano back.
Yep. Don Sagliano is back.
I'm back. Thank you.
And then I just wanted, we have a lot of people, so I just want to make sure I have. And Amy Bombadiri is yes. So Tim, Mark, you are free to go ahead.
All right, very good. Good morning, everyone. And so I think that if we would like to go ahead first, Sarah, with laying out the progress in the project, and we'll take questions and answers and see where we go from there.
Okay, and I just also want to announce that Lauren O'Neill is here representing the applicant. Should there be any additional questions for the board? So, excuse me. In front of the board this morning is North Cross requesting final approval for their project. North Cross proposes to construct a 50-unit townhouse rental community that aims to serve the market rate housing to attract young families into Hyde Park. As part of the project, there is open space that will be integrated into the project, as well as walking and hiking trails. The applicant has stated that if IDA benefits are approved, that the developer will be able to set aside 10% of their units for targeted workforce tenants at a discounted rental rate. The project is projected to create 3 FTE positions and 30 construction jobs. They are seeking final approval for sales tax exemptions and mortgage tax exemptions. There is no pilot that is part of this project. Therefore, the property will be paying full property tax once construction is complete. The public hearing was held on Monday, May 10th, and the transcript as well as written comments were forwarded to the board.
Thank you, Sarah. And I just want to review where we are exactly in that at our last meeting, we passed a resolution, a preliminary resolution that gave this project the opportunity to go in front of the public and attend, and for the public to attend a public hearing. So with that course of events, we are now at a point ready to discuss the final resolution. The board has had an opportunity to ask further questions and receive answers, and certainly I have had some questions and received answers. I think we've all received answers on issues that are important to us, such as in particular the consolidation of the lots, of energy use, a little bit more specificity in terms of the sort of transit orientation and public use of, well, the energy use of the facility in terms of public transport, the use of public transport. So if the applicant would like to add any comments, because I know some time has gone by, that would be excellent.
Yeah, so I can just give a quick update. So per the concerns that the board had on the commercial versus residential nature and the separate lots. So we did file an initial application in order to consolidate 38 of those lots. The way that subdivision was done and the way the statute is written, the other 12 lots cannot be consolidated for another 3 to 4 years, but we are committed to pursuing that, especially now that we've consolidated 38 of the lots. It doesn't really make sense to have 12 separate lots. So we did coordinate with the Dutchess County Public Transit Authority to confirm that busing transit would be available directly at the end of the new residences. And we would additionally we're trying to work on this right now, but we'll probably build a bus shelter just for the school age children as well as the public transit to make it more easily accessible. As for the environmental elements of the project, we really hold ourselves to a high standard when it comes to environmental and sustainability. That is one of our future, one of our mission statements now as a company as we go forward in development. So we are utilizing all LED lighting, which will drastically reduce energy consumption. The installation we're using will cut down heating and cooling loss by more than half of what it would be in a traditional freestanding single home. We're using mostly electric. We're going to use smart thermostats throughout the property in order to more easily control, again, that loss of energy. We also want to encourage our tenants to utilize the best in transportation. So we'll be including bike racks in each unit to make that easily available, an easy option, incentivize bike riding, as well as we're in talks about it right now. We have to really get clarification on the program, but we would be including electric charging stations at units, whether that's to a specific amount of units or at tenants' request. That's the part we're trying to work out, but we definitely are committed to really trying to motivate our community to utilize these alternative technologies in environmental. So I know one question that came from the board was regarding how do we implement the workforce housing? So we did officially commit to 10% of the units being eligible for that discount. We have talked with the town of Hyde Park. They're willing to help us directly in any assessments we need for the tenants and their eligibility for the units. But yeah, we've officially and formally agreed to do at least 10% of those units towards that discount. Additionally, we do have permanent open space conservation easements set up for the recreational portion. So those are forever, formally will not be touched. I'm not sure if anyone had any other questions or concerns. I know this is a newer type of project for the board, and we really want to walk with you through this, especially because we have a lot of plans in the future for mixed use and residential in Dutchess County. We like working in Dutchess County. We really feel like we add assets to the community, and we want to be able to work with you all and make sure everyone feels comfortable going forward. So any questions are welcome, and we really do aim to be available throughout the process directly, me or Finn, for any questions or concerns.
Oh, thank you for that. Does anyone on the board have any questions?
Yes, Acting Chairman Doyle, I have a question.
Please go ahead, Don.
Yeah, Ms. O'Neill, could you identify why all the properties cannot be placed into the redivision of the properties at this time?
Yeah, so under the specific statute itself is it's the real estate property tax law, section 560. It just says a subdivision has to be in existence for 5 years, at least 5 years before it can be, before you can abandon the lot lines. The last 12 lots were not finalized until only about a year and a half, 2 years ago. So we just statutorily have a waiting period of 5 years. So it's just, there's really just no way around it, legally speaking, before we can file the application.
Council Capolino, do you concur with that?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's the statute.
Thank you. Does anyone else on the board have a question? Hearing none, I wanted to just again extend on the comments on the process, insofar as it's our job as the board to ensure the best possible outcome for the county as a whole. We're representing the county, but to say that this project, as with the others that we consider, Sarah has made, and in every case takes time to ensure that the project is supported by the municipality in which it falls. And this is the case here. I know that this particular site has gone through sort of a series or a long history of applications, and there is a support and willingness to go forward from the municipality. but sort of going behind that, of course, is that, you know, I think it's not necessarily always obvious to perhaps those in the public that before the board gets to consider a project during the process of a board meeting, the applicant has gone through a considerable screening process and a fair amount of time with Sarah and her staff to get to that point. So, you know, with that process in place and our ability to ask questions and with legal counsel assistance, I have confidence that we're able to make good decisions. So thank you very much then to the O'Neills, and I wonder if anyone on the board would like to make a resolution, make a motion for the passage of this resolution if we are ready.
Jamie Picone, I'll make the motion for the final authorization.
Thank you. Jamie, is there a second?
I'll second it, Acting Chairman Doyle, Don Sagliano.
Thank you very much, Don. Jasmine, would you take a roll call, please?
Al Dorjani,
Approved.
Don Sagliano,
Approved.
Jane Mipicone,
Approve.
Kathy Bauer,
Approved.
Mark Doyle.
Approve.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much. We appreciate it. We look forward to working with you on this and future projects within Dutchess.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, and good luck as you get started.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. So we'll move on to the next project. I'm having a little technical difficulty with where my place is, but Sarah, if sorry, go.
I'm sorry. Before you begin, we're going to bring Amy back into the room.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Amy has returned, so you can go ahead, Mark.
Very good. Right. So perhaps if you could, Sarah, lay out the details on the Tinkelman project, and we will proceed with that.
Sure. So Tinkelman built parcel 3 and 4 is an active project. It was originally approved back in 2016. The project was to redevelop what is in the town of Poughkeepsie, what is known as Springside. They were a mixed use development with commercial and residential units. The project was to be built in 3 phases. Steve Tinkelman is here in front of the board requesting for sales and mortgage tax benefits for phase 3, which was considered in the original application, but no costs were indicated at that time because they were unsure at the time of application exactly when phase 3 would occur. So they are in front of us at this time. No board action, because they are an active project, no board action is required at this time. A public hearing will be held and they will return to the board for their final resolution at a future meeting. Built parcel, as also as part of phase 3, there is a minor change to the project as a whole. The phase 3 was to entail the construction of 32 units. That number of units has been lowered to 25 units. but there is still commercial space going to be utilized as part of phase 3. Phase 3 also includes the creation of some public space, a pocket park, and additional parking for users of the commercial and residential space there. There is an active pilot currently on parcel 3 in which phase 3 is part of. When the project is complete, or when phase 3 is complete, it will enter the pilot agreement at its current percentage, meaning that it will not start from year 1. It will start at, I believe, currently at the year that it is, and at the top of my head, I don't recall which exact year it is. But the pilot on that project has started back in 2018.
Thank you very much, sir. So to be clear, there's not a resolution or board action to be taken this morning, but to understand that we are going forward to a public hearing for these to discuss and hear about the public opinion for the changes to the project.
Correct.
Very good. And this is a project essentially in the heart of the urban area of Poughkeepsie, and great redevelopment and of a walkable multiple use community. So it's very much in line with our mission.
Yes, and to say that Bill Parcel 3 and 4 has changed. The intent of it back when they came was to increase the walkability and cohesiveness of that area with the Arlington Business District, which it has. There are quite a few residents there, and the commercial space is fully occupied. And then one thing that I failed to mention that I'd like to mention is that phase 3 will also, there will be 15 additional jobs projected than what was originally projected in the original application. So we also have with us this morning Steve Tinkelman, who is here to make a brief presentation as well as answer any questions the board may have.
Oh, excellent. Welcome to you, and look forward to the presentation.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. We're very excited about finally moving forward with phase 3. We were hoping to be at this point a couple of years earlier, but a couple things happened. One was the acquisition of the DOT parcels took longer than we thought originally. It was scheduled for 2014 and almost got us to the end of 2017. Very complicated. There were 7 small parcels that we acquired from the state that makes up the project site. Sarah, can you share a screen so we can put some images up?
Yes.
Thank you. While that's happening, the success of the first 2 phases included the adaptive reuse of 5 buildings and the construction of 2 new buildings as well. One of the new buildings is mixed use, and all the tenant spaces are currently occupied. We've also seen some additional buildings outside the pilot area being affected by the work that we've done. So you're beginning to see, I think the purpose of the pilot is not only to create jobs here, but impact the environment around us as well. So we've seen some success with that. If we can show the, how do we do this? Show the, we have a screen to share. Are we sharing a screen? Are we sharing a screen at this point, Sarah?
No, we don't see your screen. At the bottom of your Zoom screen, you should see the share screen button.
Yes, see the green button. Yes. Great. So our current plan is similar to what we had brought forth in the description when we received our pilot back in 2015. The project is a little smaller for a couple of reasons, and in the center of the image is the 5-story building that we're proposing with a parking field, to the left of it. The original plan had a few more apartments, plus on the left-hand side of the site, we were going to have another building that was about 2,000 square feet and 2 units on the second floor. But it turns out that parking is still a main driver, more so than we thought, being in Arlington Town Center and with the onset of the self-driving cars, which hasn't quite happened yet. So we had to reduce the scale of the project essentially for parking. Part of the project that you can also see is we're creating some new on-street parking. There's new sidewalks that create the walkability of the whole neighborhood. And there is this pocket park that Sarah mentioned that we're creating adjacent to the building, which we hope will be the center of this Van Wagner Place neighborhood. And not shown, I guess we can go back to the next slide. One of the things that we're hoping to do in this pocket park is also to have kind of a pop-up building. This map here is to show you where the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, and how that was, scheduled in our original pilot agreement. And then one other piece in the original pilot agreement, these images were shown when we originally got a rezone for the property into Arlington Town Center. These are the images that we presented to the town in that process. In the lower image, you can see the building that we had proposed at that time. Next slide. So this next image is a 3-dimensional view of the site and the project. Again, I think you can see on the top, you can see this little pavilion that we have proposed, which would either be for community activities, some landlord functions, and for the tenants to use that. The building, as Sarah mentioned, is 25 units on floors 2 through 5. It's a wood frame building on top of a steel and concrete first floor podium to meet the requirements of the New York State Building Code. In the first floor, where there's about 7,100 square feet of commercial space, 4,200 of that is going to be operated and used by the British Swim School, which is a local business that teaches swimming skills to kids from age 0 or from the beginning of life to age 6. There's also going to be some health and wellness programs with the pool. And the other wonderful thing is that those people living in the building in the neighborhood will be able to use the pool at scheduled times, during the week, which is really a nice thing to do. The pool also shows great from the highway as you drive by. You want to put that information? So and this is a look at the building. It's using similar materials that we've used in the neighborhood. It's a little modern, which is what we wanted to do. One of the other nice things about the building as currently proposed is that there's a 5th floor public spaces for those people that live in the building, from an outdoor roof deck area. There's office space up there for the tenants to use. There's a communal room and also a gym. One of the things that changed during the pandemic year was we had designed the building and something didn't seem as contemporary given what we learn about life with the pandemic and with people working at home. So because of the fact that these are larger apartments, they're also flats, and a lot of the apartments that we've done so far are 2-level, and you can see that the flats are, work for a lot of folks that don't want to deal with stairs. Of course, it's an elevated building, or an elevator building, I'm sorry. But we went back and looked at the floor plans, and given the fact that we had this space, we're creating what we call swing spaces. And there's spaces at home where if you wanted to work, you're not in your living room, you're not in your dining room, you're in your bedroom, but there's a swing space that you could do crafts at home if you want to set up your drum set or something like that. You have the ability to have this kind of new space for the new world. So we're also setting up the office space up above so that there needs to be meetings, or if you need to work outside of your apartment, you can do that as well. You can see the windows on the lower level facing the highway. And, again, that's for the British Swim School. The other spaces are under discussion, but we have no leases that are currently signed. As with all the work that we've done in the neighborhood, our building is created with many sustainable features, exceeding the energy code packages, really high quality windows. The environmental systems, being electric, are also going to be the high efficiency and such. And there are programs that we're working with NYSERDA and such that if we're successful and accepted, we'll be part of this program. We're also going to do things like try to do some throwback and use wood floors rather than vinyl plank stuff. That seems to be what is being built. I really like the feel of wood. And again, there's the support operation systems, the smart systems for entering the building, for operating the environmental systems are all going to be part of the project as well. Low VOC stuff, which is obvious and, just fundamental. Maybe show another slide of the entrance. And as Sarah mentioned, this is the entry side. Looking from the parking lot, you can see where it says 44. We're currently calling the code name for the project right now is Pork Chop because of the shape of the lot, but we don't have a name yet for it. But the address, I think, is 44 Springside. So that's the entrance for the apartments. And then as you can see on the left, there's kind of a colonnade where you'll be able to walk, from the parking lot and be under the weather. And then you can begin to see on the left side that that's where the park is. It's a combination of some really exotically planned landscaping and some hardscape, and that can be used by those in the neighborhood as well as by the tenants in the building, and again, depending upon who the tenants end up being. So, we feel that this neighborhood square, Pocket Park, could be really a vibrant place to be the glue of, the 8 or 9 buildings 10 buildings that are part of this neighborhood currently. Again, as Sarah mentioned, we're going to slide into the pilot. We're hoping to get started in July, and construction is about 14 months. As you all know, the construction marketplace right now is it's a little turbulent, and cost issues are profound, and hopefully they'll sit down a little bit, but who knows? It's really a crapshoot in that regard. So we're being careful. We're doing all of our pricing right now, but there have been some supply chain issues, and that's why the project, which normally could be built in 12 months, we're saying 14. Maybe we should say 15 months as well, because you just don't know. But again, no changes to the existing pilot, and we're just excited about creating more energy in the neighborhood. We're because part of the success of it is really critical mass, and this really helps in achieving that. So I hope you like what you see, and certainly glad to answer any questions. And thank you very much.
Thank you for that presentation. That's very interesting indeed. I was wondering if you might comment on you made a comment on the increase of cost, the building costs, which we've been hearing about quite a bit. But perhaps your point of view on the level of demand and in the market for residential space and the nature of that demand and how that's affecting your plans.
Well, right now, from our seat, we see the demand is strong, and it's strong from from very diverse forces. It's not one demographic or another, so the diversity is kind of great. And in some ways, the housing market is different, particularly if people are working at home. So that the apartments then really need to, function for that successfully. We're trying to do home replacement. We tried to do that, with our last project as well here, with the idea that people stay longer and they really become embedded in the community and such. And so that's the focus of our design. From a cost point of view, we'll have a better idea. We've had lots of conversations with people in the industry to, target costs in our budgeting, and we're now pricing out the whole project, and we should have some of those results in the next week or so.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions or comments? So I think then, Sarah, am I correct in saying that we don't need to do anything further, but simply to wish them good luck for the public meeting, the public hearing, and we'll see you back when that's complete.
Correct.
Thank you very much for coming this morning and giving us the run through your project. It's exciting.
Thank you.
Okay. This is Sarah. If we can have Tim return to the meeting.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Tim.
Okay. Are we ready to move to reasonability analysis and fee schedules, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the reasonability analysis?
Sure. So, like many IEAs in New York State and frankly, the United States, we're seeing a rise in housing projects requesting various tax incentives, including pilots. However, market forces and finances for commercial housing projects are different than conventional industrial projects that we typically have induced. These projects often create fewer permanent jobs. However, housing projects can be equally important in supporting economic development and community development for an area. So the use of the reasonability testing can supplement the information the board already reviews and objectively evaluates the but for or the if not for clause for financial assistance, showing the effects of assistance of the project's financial outcome with community benefits. The intent of these analyses is to provide the board with more information to balance the goal of impactful projects to be built with fiscal responsibility to the community and the school district. So in that vein, I have reached out to several firms that do this reasonability testing. In front of you is a proposal by Camoin. There are about a dozen IDAs in New York State that use Camoin for their reasonability testing, in particular for housing projects that request a pilot. And then provided for you in the packet was a copy of the proposal as well as the information that they collect from the applicant to do their testing.
So as Sarah has said, we have discussed in the past getting some additional help with our analysis, specifically on housing projects. And so this organization does appear to provide that type of supplemental support. And as part of our fee schedule that Sarah is going to discuss, you know, there are projects where we would like to have the ability to have an analysis done. Does anybody have any questions? You know, after looking at the proposal that Camoin has presented to us, Sarah, can you do you have the exact page that it is in our index copy?
Yes.
If we wanted.
So the proposal starts on page 393.
Thank you.
Packet.
So I don't know if members have had a chance to.
Don Sagliano has his arm raised.
Oh, Don, go ahead.
Thank you, Sarah. Chairman Dean and the board. So Sarah, you mentioned that did you solicit any other opportunities for service? Or is this the only one that was responsive? Can you speak to the process as to how you located this organization?
Yes. So I located this organization as well as two other organizations, Pattern and NDC, which is based in Westchester. I got a proposal from Camoin and from NDC. NDC, their analysis is very similar, but their cost of the report was quite high. So this is when the board requests these studies, the cost of the study will be passed on to the applicant to do. And
that was my next question.
Yeah, and we felt that the Camoin proposal was the most reasonable study and still achieve the outcome and the information that the board would be looking for.
Great, thank you very much, Sarah.
And Sarah, did you speak with any other municipality or any other IDA that has used Camoin and get feedback from them as to the helpfulness of the studies?
So I did speak to one other IDA about it, and they came Camoin's report became highly recommended. I did not speak to them, but the Ulster County IDA has used Camoin to do this reasonability study for housing projects entailing a pilot in Kingston.
And to be clear, we would not use this for someone that was just requesting a sales and mortgage tax exemption. It would be only if they were looking for a pilot, correct?
Yes, because that's really where most of these benefits are affecting municipalities is in the pilot. And you're really examining the return on investment during the life of that project.
Okay, and
sorry,
yes.
it's Kathy. So
Yeah.
we would get this information when the applicant is first coming before the board?
Yes, so it will be part of the packet of that you get typically with the cost benefit analysis. You'll get the recommendation, the opinion of of Camoin on the pilot of the project, as well as the project evaluation. So yes.
Thank you.
And Sarah, can you talk about the which projects are there? Is there a threshold that we're discussing on using this for a particular project, or would it be for all?
I would recommend that we use this reasonability study for housing and potentially mixed use projects that entail a pilot.
Okay.
Especially deviated pilots.
Okay, and when you say mixed use, would it have to include housing as part of the mixed use?
Yes, as part of the
Okay.
mixed use housing as an element.
So just to be, clear to everybody, we already do cost benefit analysis on all projects. And as Sarah mentioned, we just feel that having an additional resource to help us analyze some of the factors used by and variables used by applicants in their proposals to us, specifically for housing projects, is where we're looking for this additional guidance. Sarah, what action are you looking for us to take today on this? Was there a separate action or was this part of our fee schedule?
No, this was just a discussion for the board
Okay.
to make them aware that this is something that I will be requesting of these housing projects or projects that entail housing that ask for a pilot. And so I just wanted to present that to the board for their information.
Are we required to make it part of our process and mandate it for those projects?
I would, at this point, I would just make it a recommendation on my part to pursue, as part of the fee schedule, we do allow the board to decide freely. And I think once we've done maybe one or two of these studies, that we can then formalize it into a policy.
Okay. Of course, our desire would be that that we be consistent at all times in how we, require this. So just to sort of summarize, we are in a sort of an initial phase of we're going to try Des Moines out with a couple of with our next housing or combined housing projects, and then you'll report back to us on how they go.
Yes, and I would clarify these, I'm sorry, as for new housing projects.
Yes. Anything that we have not already had a preliminary hearing on or not received an application?
For anything that we have not received an application.
Already, okay.
Already.
Okay, so we will get to see the results of these studies as they occur because they'll be part of our information. Okay, does anybody have any questions about Des Moines or this process that we're going to now add? The one thing that I will say is that it will make it will require that we be given enough time by applicants to get through this process. Sarah, what is do you have any idea of the time required for a response from Des Moines to an applicant?
So they require 2 weeks to complete the report. So we will be asking the applicant to provide enough information or enough time so that the Des Moines can do the report and be included in the board packet.
Okay. So just applicants, there have been times when we've expedited. I don't know if we've ever expedited a housing pilot in 2 weeks, but at any rate, it will require that they get information in their application to us reasonably in advance of their request for a benefit.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that takes us to the next discussion, which is fee schedule.
Yeah.
And Sarah has prepared a recommended fee schedule for us. We have not looked at our fees in quite a while. And so Sarah has taken a look in our surrounding IDAs and sort of benchmark what is being, what the fee reasonableness is. And Sarah, would you like to talk with us about that?
Sure. So like Tim mentioned, the IDA has not changed its fee schedule since 2000, resulting in actually one of the lowest fees that an IDA charges in New York State. So to make the IDA more competitive with our surrounding IDAs, I have proposed an increase in our fee schedule, as well as increase in our fees to cover the rising administrative costs for compliance. So what I want to point to is first is the chart that was included in the proposal. It was at the fourth page, the last page of the proposal. And what you'll see is the first column being what I'm proposing, the
So
second.
just Sarah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just want to interrupt. In our board packet is the last page of the entire packet.
Yes. Okay, so so the columns are the proposed is what I am proposing. The second column is what our current fee schedule is, and then the remaining columns to the right are the counties that are nearby and what their fee schedule is. So as you can, and then at the very bottom of that chart, I have an example of what we would be collecting in fees for projects that are $30 million in range, which is our typical project cost, and then $100 million range. And as you can see across under our current fee schedule, we are charging quite considerably less than what our neighboring IDAs are. So so the fee schedule that I am proposing is raising the base amount from 2.5 million to 25 million, but the formula remains the same. So it'll be 1% for the first $25 million of a project, and then 0.25% will be charged for the balance of the cost of that project, which will increase our fees about 2.5, double, a little more than double.
So Sarah, again, I would just ask if you wouldn't mind, and that's the first box under project fee / administrative fee. Could you just run across that and just talk about the other counties and what they charge, within that specific area, just so people have a sense of it?
Yeah, so I will start at the very top is the application fee. We currently charge $250 for a filing of an application. I am proposing an increase in our application fee to $1,000. That is based on what I'm seeing other counties in New York State. That is the most popular, I guess, more common fee to charge for a filing of a application is $1,000. The Orange County charges $5,000 to file an application, and then Sullivan County charges $250. So I thought $1,000 was a fair amount for the filing of an application. The project administrative fee, again, will raise the base amount to 25 million. And then anything above that. There is a, for industrial and manufacturing projects, I do propose keeping the fee schedule the same. And that is because those projects tend to have a larger ripple effect and provide more benefits to the community. And frankly, a lot of manufacturing industrial jobs tend to be less than 3 million in our history. So to encourage expansion projects in the county and to allow new manufacturing jobs to enter, I propose to keep the fee for those projects. And that is common for some IDAs to do, including Orange County does the same thing.
So we would, for the first 25 million, we would charge 1%, and then it would go to 0.25 after that. Can you compare that to, for example, the other counties going across?
Yes. So Orange County does something similar. They charge, well, they don't. They do something similar for manufacturers, I'm sorry. So Orange County charges 1% for the total project cost.
Without any break at 25 million. They
Yeah,
keep 1% all the way.
they keep
Okay.
1% on the entire project. Rockland County does the same thing. They charge 1% for total project costs, but for those projects that ask for that have a benefit less than $250,000, they they charge 1% of the project for 1% of the total project cost for projects that have a benefit less than $250,000. For any other project that have benefits above $250,000, they charge a range of 2 to 3%, which is negotiated. Sullivan County does something very interesting. They actually negotiate their admin fee, and they then divide that up through the life of the agreement. So that they don't have a set fee. That fee is negotiated with each project.
Okay.
Ulster County charges 1% of the total project cost. And then Westchester has somewhat of a complex formula where they charge 5% for the benefit amount and 0.01% of the estimated pilot amount. Any questions? And then again, at the bottom where it says what projects would pay under the administrative fees, you'll see those fees, what that would look like. Don Sagliano?
Thank you. The question I have is that counties in New York State have different types of operating entities for their IDA. Some are attached to a economic development, such as I know Saratoga County has that, where the IDA is actually a very, very small entity, and they have the Saratoga Economic Development Corporation, as well as the Prosperity Partnership. How do these counties in your peer group relate to the similar operations of what Dutchess County is structured?
So yeah, so Orange County has the most similar structure to how our IDA operates. We also have the similar number of projects and the type of projects. Westchester County is actually operates under the county, as well as Rockland County IDA used to operate very similar to our IDA, but last year was absorbed by the county. So Sullivan County does have an independent IDA, much like the Dutchess County IDA. And then Ulster County is also part of the county.
Thank you.
All right.
Mark Doyle here. Sarah, and I think that you've done a good job of balancing the sort of the competing interests in some ways between, large entities, large applications, and then, the smaller family-run maybe manufacturing operations that come in that we really want to incentivize, so that we are, taking care of essentially of Dutchess County residents rather than putting all the emphasis on those, coming into the county. Of course, both parts are are vitally important, but we don't want to forget our own people. So I like the scaling, and if in fact there are any other ideas for enhancing the system for the smaller applications, I'd be interested, to hear about it. But this looks pretty good to me.
And in that vein, that's also the reasoning behind a different fee for the sales and mortgage. is to allow the smaller manufacturer to ask for these benefits at an affordable rate.
Don Sagliano.
Yeah, thank you. So, Sarah, so when we look at the line that says annual compliance fee,
Yes.
we're currently at $500 per year. So if we were to adopt or modify our rate schedule, would existing projects now fall under a new rate?
So, yes.
Okay. And how many existing projects do we currently have that are subject to this annual compliance fee?
Oh, Marilyn, 8.
Thank you.
And you'll note that under other fees, there is a local labor. Local labor is something that's indicated. As we add more projects that require us to audit some of these things, it could become untenable for us to do that in-house. And that's why we have put in there that we may have to outsource that. And if we do, we will have to ask the beneficiary or applicant to cover those costs.
So yeah, so under processing fees, those will actually remain the same. We do ask applicants to pay the direct cost of our counsel fees as well as transcription services. Those will remain the same. And under other fees, like Tim said, if a project, for example, is going to be required to do the reasonableness testing, that they would be the cost of that would be transferred onto the applicant. One thing that I did want to mention is that because we do, I am presenting or proposing a separate fee for sales and mortgage, but for those projects that entail a pilot and the request or the amendment to ask for additional sales and mortgage, if that also entails their project costs increasing by 10 million or more, will be subject to the project administrative fee.
Does everybody understand what Sarah meant by that?
You just run that one more time, Sarah, please?
Yeah, so projects that have a pilot, and then they come back to the IDA and they're requesting additional sales and mortgage, and their project cost is going to increase by more than 10 million. They would not be subject to the sales and mortgage fee. Instead, that their fee would be based on the project administrative fee. That's to prevent projects from separating their application and,
to take advantage of lower costs in the sales and mortgage tax area?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Can you give an example of a project that we've had before us that this might have applied to, or something in our recent past?
Yeah. So Eastdale is a good example. Is Eastdale came for additional sales and mortgage, but they also increased their cost of the project by 95 million. Had they just been subject to the sales and mortgage, the admin fee on that would be significantly less than what they would pay on the project fee. And also too is that 95 million also indicated one of the reasons why the project cost went up is the scope of that project changed. And so 10 million, based on what the other historically what the IDA has seen, 10 million seems to be where project scope tends to change after that 10 million point.
Got it. As opposed to just a inflationary change or a minor change.
Correct.
Okay.
So in terms of Belfield, their change was a little less, around 8 million, but they're not changing the scope of their project. They had just asked for it.
Right. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? I concur with some of the comments that were made that I think this is a good balance and allows us to cover our expenses and costs as an organization to review and vet all of these projects. Sarah, you're looking for us to approve this fee schedule, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, I would like to ask if there's a board member who would make a motion to approve the schedule as presented.
This is Kathy. I'll make that proposal.
Thank you, Kathy. Can I get a second, please?
Mark Doyle, I'll second that.
Okay, Jasmine, could you please take a roll call vote?
Al Tawajani,
Approved.
Don Sagliano,
Approved.
Jamie Picone,
Approve.
Amy Bondieri,
Approved.
Kathy Bauer,
Approved.
Mark Doyle,
Approved.
Tim Dean.
Approved. Okay. Sarah, is there anything else that we need to discuss in the IDA?
No, completes our business.
Okay, so the meeting of the Dutchess County IDA is now adjourned.